Coming up, we upend the biggest footwear controversy of all time.
Socks and sandals, it's a no-no.
We find a little ray of sunshine for curly hair.
We'll take a ride on the old dusty trail. Yeah! With an iconic cowboy hat.
But first, let's hit the open road with one of the coolest jackets ever made.
Men in leather jackets, hot, hot.
This is Style Factory. For rebels, bikers, and badass rockers, there's only one jacket of choice. The Schott Brothers Perfecto motorcycle jacket in black leather. Handmade in the USA, the Perfecto couldn't be more American if it tried.
The motorcycle jacket is rebellious. There's something sexy about rebels.
Men in leather jackets, hot, hot, hot. Which woman doesn't love a bad boy? Hot.
Bikers in the 40s wore the tough-as-hell leather jackets for protection on the open road. Soon, the rowdy gangs got a bad reputation. And Hollywood, well, they couldn't resist.
Nobody did a leather jacket like James Dean did a leather jacket. I mean, but I take that back, Marlon Brando. I mean, you have a couple guys that really epitomize the cool.
The motorcycle jacket was given a huge boost of popularity when Marlon Brando wore one as a very disaffected rebel in The Wild One in the early 1950s. And some schools also banned the motorcycle jacket as this symbol of rebellion.
Banning it from schools made kids want it even more, and business really exploded from that.
It's a story this dude has heard and told a million times.
My name is Jason Schott. I'm the 4th generation family member at Schott NYC.
That's right. Jason's great-grandfather was Irving Schott, son of a Russian immigrant and founding father of Schott NYC back in 1913. Schott had one goal: make high-quality clothing with the best American leather available. And it all happens in this 60,000 square foot New Jersey factory.
The right leather has a tremendous amount of character. It's got that leather smell. It's got the drag when you run your hand along it. You can feel the right amount of resistance. So over time, a leather jacket is actually gonna mold to your body and feel even better.
I'm a big fan of real leather. I mean, I'm wearing a leather jacket right now.
With a good quality leather, the older it gets, the better it ages.
The Perfecto's design hasn't changed much since 1928. Long sleeves protect the rider from road rash in case they fall. A built-in body belt keeps the jacket tight. And the defining feature, the asymmetrical zip, running up the body, keeping the wind off at 100 miles per hour. The Perfecto contains 47 individual pieces, and to go from a sheet of all-American leather hide to a gnarly ride takes about 1 day. The jacket panels are cut by hand using cutting-edge technology, such as stencils and a razor blade.
The leather cannot be covered by machine. It's impossible to cover a machine. Leather is different. You got damage, you got scars, so you gotta go pieces by pieces, pieces by pieces.
Once John's cut the leather pieces, they're bundled and sent to this station where the pocket holes get chopped out of the front panels. Then Sylvia glues down and bashes those pocket seams into place. It's basically the same process used by Irving when the jacket was created. Charlie here can back us up on that.
This is one of the earliest versions that we have. This one happens to be horsehide. We want new jackets to look like this old jacket. We work with the tanneries to create leathers that, when they're new, they look like how this jacket looks after being 75 years old.
Charlie's been the chief designer at Schott for years. It's a job that's mostly kept his rebellious nature in check.
I don't follow trends. I follow trends in some things, but not in leather jackets.
One feature of the Perfecto has avoided trends since the jacket's inception: the off-center body zip.
My great-grandfather was the first person to put a zipper in a jacket, and by doing so, invented the motorcycle jacket.
Biker style is my favorite style because there's even more zippers than normal, so I love hardware on jackets.
The front and back panels are sewn together. Then the sleeves. Now the legendary shoulder straps, called epaulettes, are sewn on. Before, those famous 5-pointed star studs are popped on using a kick press.
I usually say the more the merrier with studs, spikes, gems, rhinestones, sequins, grommets, rivets. The more the better.
After the lining is attached, this spike is used to push out and sharpen the corners.
Every leather jacket needs to have some sort of leather oil. Periodically, you need to restore the natural oils within the leather. You want to keep it away from too much heat.
The Perfecto is now ready to hit the highway.
It's amazing to me how these jackets just seem to never go out of style. The Ramones were fans of our brand, the Beastie Boys and Lady Gaga.
This jacket is brand new, but it'll be years before it really looks and feels finished. Just the way Schott likes it.
You just have to wear it. You gotta put it in the miles. You gotta sleep in it. You gotta sweat in it. You gotta get it dirty.
I've heard from a number of people who feel like they can't wear this jacket. It's too much, it's too bold. I think it's all in the head. You know, you just have to let out your inner badass a little bit.
We're talking about socks?
That's right. Socks are a great way to kick up your style.
A very bright person wears bright socks.
My socks always have to have a color, a print. It's just a reflection of who I am.
Turns out, letting loose below the knee isn't exactly a new trend.
The earliest socks were almost like, picture it as a sock boot. They were made of animal skins and they were tied up around the ankles and the calf.
Luckily, times have changed. Today, we're heading to Fort Payne, Alabama, where socks have always had a special purpose.
Fort Payne, Alabama was once known as the sock capital of the world. We manufactured 1 of every 8 pairs of socks globally. Yeah, and that's a lot.
Until manufacturing moved overseas and orders started drying up.
We had over 125 mills here. Now there's probably less than 20.
Gina Locklear is the founder of Zucano Socks, and she's working hard to get Fort Payne back on its feet.
The New York Times gave me a nickname, the Sock Queen of Alabama. I can't even say it.
Her reign started 9 years ago when Gina got involved in the family business.
I thought, hey, if we can have our own brand of socks, we can control the manufacturing, hopefully we can build it into a successful brand, and then no one can take away our manufacturing business from us.
So she took over her family's mill, producing the vibrant socks she's now famous for. Like the knee-high Mara, made with organic cotton and low-impact dyes.
Organic cotton is grown without the use of chemicals and pesticides. It's better for the environment and it's better for your skin.
Gina starts every new collection with an old-fashioned brainstorm.
I feel like we really have a great base that we're working off of. Going forward, we want to make sure we're progressing with the colors as they evolve through the market.
Socks are a sensible business, but that hasn't stopped people from using them to make a statement. So Gina and her team make sure to keep up with current trends and apply them to old standbys.
Well, the Mara is my personal favorite because we use black and natural in it throughout the sock, and it's very bold, yet it's wearable, and our customers love it.
Once they settle on a style for the season, the knitting process kickstarts on the factory floor. Spools of brightly colored organic cotton, nylon, and elastic yarns sit on large metal rods called creels,
which feeds the yarn down into the knitting machine.
Vance helps the process along, threading the yarn into the knitter's 4-inch cylinder.
The Mara takes about 2 minutes and 30 seconds to knit.
For knitting to happen at this speed, the machine follows a pre-programmed pattern. That starts with the top band, called the welt, and finishes at the toe with something called the clip. Each sock is knit with 144 individual needles.
When the socks finish knitting, it kind of looks like a tube. The sock is open.
And they're put into a vacuum tube one at a time, which sucks the sock through and turns it inside out.
You align them on what we call a blade or a guide.
This device catches the sock by the toe and seals both the front and back side seams.
And then once that happens, it's turned right side out again. And then from that point, it's ready to go to the finishing.
Finishing is actually more like laundering. The socks are given a cold water chemical-free rinse and tumbled in an energy-efficient dryer. Each sock is placed onto an already heated metal foot form, which gives them their shape. Then they're sent through an enclosed carousel that heats them up to smooth them out.
When they're finished with their cycle, then they're nice and wrinkle-free.
A mechanical arm removes each sock. And they're ready to be inspected, packaged, and labeled.
I think the knee-high sock is really cute on some girls, but you have to have the style to go with it.
My favorite way is to wear them with a skirt in the fall. If you're bold enough, the Mara sock looks really cute with chunky sandals.
And that right there is the world's biggest sock controversy.
Socks and sandals, it's a no-no.
I would say that socks and sandals is my shoe pet peeve. However, the other day I was on the plane and these guys got on and they were wearing these athletic socks with slide sandals and they looked so cool.
Oh my God.
First novelty socks, now socks and sandals. Leave it to hipsters to make anything cool.
For men and women, I think knee-high socks, they're go-to pieces. Something colorful, something bright.
There's only one thing on Earth that outshines the Lone Star State, and it's a hat.
It's just Stetson.
That's right, Stetson's cowboy hat. Specifically, the Stetson Skyline 6X in Sahara felt.
I am not fully dressed unless I have a hat on.
Ricky Bolin has worn many cowboy hats in his life. As a rodeo bull rider, a rancher, and most recently, a Stetson lifer.
I've put 2 daughters through college with Stetson hats, paid for a couple of weddings.
The origins of the Stetson are about as Wild West as it gets. Legend has it that sometime in the 1860s, John B. Stetson cut an oversized sun hat with a tall, indented crown to trap cool air above his head. He stiffened the brim, folding the edges up to control the direction of air and rainwater. Stetson may not have struck gold, but he went on to make a fortune with his famous cowboy hat. Fast forward some 150 years, and the fully functional Stetson is a Texas-sized fashion statement.
I like the cowboy lifestyle because it's very rodeo, very dirty, very outside. They know what they're doing. I know how to ride a horse. Love the cowboy hat. I have a ranch.
I think the cowboy hat's a dangerous piece. If you don't live that lifestyle, then it looks like a costumey piece.
Sure, it can be a Halloween getup, but its effect on real fashion can't be denied, starting in Hollywood. We still fondly remember our favorite Western heroes. From Buffalo Bill to John Wayne, carving up the Wild West, all under the shade of a Stetson. The felt hats arrive at the 25,000 square foot factory in Garland, Texas, as lifeless Stetson templates. Felt is one of the world's oldest fabrics, made by mixing and mashing furs together, then blending and drying them into the stiff fabric. Stetson has made its felt basically the same way since 1865.
In order to keep that Stetson tradition going and making the product the way that it's always been made, a lot of our machinery here was manufactured in the 1800s.
When the felt hat templates arrive in Garland, they aren't exactly the sexy, masculine symbol of the open range. So the first step is softening them up, preparing the hats to transform.
They go through a procedure called first block. And what that does is it kind of forms the body into making what the person off the street would recognize as a hat.
But the felt hats are still too floppy to work with, so they're sent to the stiffening section. Here, a top secret lacquer is squeezed and pressed onto every hat.
Then it sets to dry for like 3 days.
And Stetson learned the hard way that sometimes the best methods are tried and true.
So we purchased the oven several years ago. Long story short, the oven did not work and it was very, very expensive. So 3 to 4 days is the drying process, and there's no need in trying to speed that up.
3 days later, the hats are dry and the brims are sanded until smooth. A process John B. Stetson could easily recognize today.
When we sand our product and you don't get all the loose fibers, we will do a singeing technique which actually burns them off.
But the hat still doesn't look like a Stetson. Cue the crown press. This machine presses the iconic Stetson indentations into the crown using 80 pounds of pressure. Now the brim can get straightened out, and by that, we mean folded up.
You know, I get very excited about that because that's when the hat starts coming alive.
It's something I think that looks best when it's placed with something that really it shouldn't be worn with. So say maybe like a white leather coat and a great black cowboy hat.
Next, a leather sweatband is sewn into the crown.
To me, a leather sweatband in our hats is one of the most important things. Because of comfort, the most irritating thing there is for your hat not to stay on your head correctly.
Nearing the end of the process, the decorative buckle band is added to the base of the crown.
So it's like a little detail that makes it super special.
Finally, the lining is glued in. And every lining on this, the most popular Stetson, tells a classic Stetson story.
We have a lot of different photos that we put inside of hats, but our most common is what we call the last drop. The cowboy bent over, dipping water out of a stream, and he's watering his horse out of his hat. You know, to people that think about buying a hat, they know the Stetson name because they've always heard it. Their grandfather wore it. Their great-grandfather wore it. It kind of makes you want to stick your chest out because you know you're basically wearing the best hat product made in the world today.
What does Kerry Russell and Kit Harington, aka Jon Snow, have in common? Curly hair, of course. But anyone will testify. While it's gorgeous, it's also a pain to maintain. Especially when you're dealing with the curl's #1 foe, frizz.
Well, frizzy hair is not good, period.
Frizzy hair, no bueno.
My favorite curly hair icon is Shirley Temple by far.
I do not have frizzy hair issues, fortunately.
Well, aren't you lucky? For everyone else, there's celebrity hair guru Mark Anthony.
I remember the first time that I walked onto the red carpet at the Oscars, styling hair for Blake Lively and Paris Hilton. It's really a dream come true.
And he's taken all that A-list expertise to create a product that tames unruly curls once and for all. The Strictly Curls Curl Envy Cream.
This is unlike any other product, and it's grown to be one of the best-selling products around the world. Record-breaking sales.
His popular curl cream is made in Toronto, Canada, where the weather isn't exactly frizz-friendly.
If you're in humidity, you're gonna get extra frizz. In the winter, the frizz comes out even more because all the moisture is being taken out of your curls.
Most people with curly hair always check the weather before they style their hair.
For insurance, there's always the bottle. Key ingredients are soybean oil, shea butter, and vitamin E. Throw avocado oil in there, and you've got the cream's starter ingredients. These help lock in said moisture and repair dry and brittle hair.
Starting in the shower, you want to leave a little bit of extra conditioner in your hair and just comb through, get the tangles out of your curls. The next step is when you come out of the shower, don't over towel dry your hair. That's gonna cause distortion of the cuticle. It's gonna make the hair really, really frizzy.
At the mixing tank, water acts as the cream's base. It's blended with those all-natural starter ingredients and followed with a series of enriching fatty spirits. That's sterile alcohol, cetearyl alcohol, and bihentramonium chloride. Complicated chemical names for ingredients that will stabilize the cream and detangle any gnarly curls.
Curly hair wasn't always considered a hassle. It was actually considered to be one of the most beautiful features that a man or a woman could possess in ancient Greece. It was so beautiful in the 20s with the pink curls, the 70s, the really cool afros. Yeah, curly hair's amazing.
As long as you have a good hairdresser.
Girls don't like the curly hair for two very specific reasons. One is they don't know what to do with it. And the second, that the shape or the cut is not appropriate for the hair type.
All curls should have layers, but the danger is those layers can't be too short. They have to be long layers so that curls can move freely.
Exactly what the Curl Envy Cream allows them to do. The mixture emulsifies into a creamy texture. Then it's pumped to the filling station. These yellow curl tubes are loaded into a hopper.
The Curl Girl brings sunshine into your life, and that's how we chose the color yellow.
The tubes are individually fed onto a puck that holds them upright, and they make their way around a turntable to be filled with the curl cream. Half-built cartons are loaded onto a machine, and the tubes are dropped in. The cartons are sealed and ready to hit over 45,000 stores and salons worldwide.
It's so easy to use the Curl Envy Cream. All you have to do is take a little bit, emulsify it in your palm, and what that does is activates the ingredients so that you can start to work it through your hair.
When it comes to drying curly hair, avoid touching it. You're only adding frizz. That's all you're doing. You should let your hair dry 95% and look like a wet-looking rock star, but then you start crunching it.